Hey everybody, it's Meredith here from Custom B&B Hosting. I am very excited to have Aaron Byerlee joining me today and talking about Airbnb. We're running a bit late today, but very happy that we're on here now. And of course, you can listen to this in the replay if you can't catch us right now. So say g'day if you are listening. Say g'day and hashtag replay if you're listening in the replay later on. So I'm just going to get right in there and say, hey, Aaron, thank you so much for coming and spending and giving your time to this group today. We know each other now for, I don't know, a year and a half or so, and I have the honour of being coached by you and have really valued your support over this last 18 months. And but you have a wealth of wisdom about the short-term rental market in Australia, and you are always investigating. I find you really concise about it, and you're really on point, and kind of what you're talking about really kind of happens, but you're just kind of concise and practical about it as well. So I really appreciate that. And you're going to share that wisdom with us today. But maybe I'll hand over to you and just say, could you do an intro about who you are and what your background is, and fill people in that maybe don't know you like me?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Meredith. It's great to be on here. That year and a half's gone fast, and there's a lot more fun to be had. But I guess the STR market, short-term rental, it's a space that's always going to be there. It's a space that's always going to grow. And so, my background, I've always been entrepreneurial. I think I bought my first business at age 22. So got into traditional business and always developed, and I've always tried to look forward and never put myself into a bubble of, I'm going to be a gym owner, I'm going to be a franchise owner, or I'm going to be this or that. I've always put myself into the bubble of being an entrepreneur. So it kind of is whatever's working at the time or whatever I feel is the best model. And then as I got older, it became less about the money, more about the lifestyle. And so, as I'm getting into the late 30s and then into 40s, and then you have family and you have kids, and, as I used to love to travel, and I still love to travel, but that became such a less priority because I wanted to be home with the kids, particularly as they get older. And so about 2011, I took business online. And then a couple of years later, I sold every single business I had. Actually, I think I sold every property I had too, because I had 8 investment properties. So I kind of look at it as two worlds of my entrepreneurial journey. And the way I kind of did it was the way we always did it, what I refer to as kind of the old school. And then I started seeing these young kids. And when I say young kids, I was probably only in my 30s, but, 20-year-old kids making 50 grand a month on eBay and affiliate marketing. And I just didn't really have an online presence at all. I'd probably joined Facebook a few years prior. But it's clear to see if you wanted lifestyle, that was the way of the future. So it's just a matter of learning that side of it. So, I got online. And then, as I guess Airbnb really made the short-term rental market sexy. It put it in the spotlight. It made it easy for the everyday average Joe. And so about 4 years ago, maybe a little bit longer now, probably about 4 years ago, I came across a model in the US where they were leasing properties and putting it on the short-term rental market. And again, as an entrepreneur, I crunched the numbers and went, the math works pretty good on that. But I kind of thought it was more of this sneaky way of not telling the owner what you were doing. And I thought, oh, man, that's too stressful. You're going to get busted. Your reputation is on the line, all that stuff. So I didn't do it until I looked into the legalities of it and understood, okay, if we're upfront with the owner, we sign a legal lease that states we're going to do that. We don't come under the subleasing clause. We're good to go. The math works. So since then, our business has evolved. Me and my wife have a great, and Nicole have a great short-term rental market business. We're on Airbnb, but also Booking.com and tweeting all the platforms. Tweaked our model particularly, and we'll probably talk more about this, Meredith, like post-COVID, more into the coastal hinterland holiday rather than CBD working market, managing properties as well. So, it's a great business model. People sort of talk about, Airbnb and will it be around forever, and is it good for the community? And what people have got to understand is the short-term rental space has been around since Jesus was born in a manger in a Bethlehem, right? And it's always going to be around and continue to get bigger and bigger. It's just evolved, and it goes up and down. We got borders open, borders closed, and Airbnb sort of brought it to the forefront. So, it's a business that I'm involved in today. We also run an education course teaching people how to do it. And I'm always looking at a bunch of other things as an entrepreneur, and it's great to have you involved in that community.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. I agree with you. Like, I've talked to a bunch of short-term rental owners who've got, portfolios of property here in Melbourne, and they're like, oh yeah, we were here way before Airbnb. We've been doing this stuff for a long time,
Yeah. They like to tell you too when they were there first, don't they? They like to remind people.
Yeah. But they're also like, yeah, we understand direct bookings. Like, we don't rely on that one, on that one platform. We get across all the platforms, They understand about fluctuations and changes, and you just got to kind of be ready to go with those flows, I guess, is what I picked up from them. Yeah.
No, definitely.
So you kind of talked a little bit about what drew you to Airbnb. Can you just expand on that a little bit about why?
Yeah. I mean, it fit into the category of what I initially look at is I can run this business from home. Yeah. So I can literally be in my home office here, which I'm at right now, or I can kind of be anywhere with this device, right? And we've got to understand these things have evolved so much that we take it for granted. So when I was on YouTube in the beginning, right, most people forget about this, but we would watch a video with dial-up internet, and we'd watch the wagon wheel go around about every 6 seconds. It would rebuff, and we'd watch another. That was how we started. And so you can't really, go and run a business online while it's doing it. So it's evolved, and internet's gotten better, and then things like TikTok's come along, and then obviously Airbnb came along. So it fit into the category of something I could do from home around my family. It fitted into the category of trends. Travel's not going away anytime soon. I mean, COVID, which we will talk about, no one can see that coming. So there's always going to be ups and downs in the industry. I always ask myself the question too, as an entrepreneur that thinks big, can I make 7 figures doing this?
Yeah.
Not everyone asks that question. Some people are happy going, okay, it's a great side gig. If I can make $2,000 a month doing this, I'll be happy as Larry. Yeah. Other people are like, well, if I can make 10, 15 grand a month, that replaces my wage. That's a full-time wage. That's fantastic. For me, if I can't potentially make 7 figures in it, I just don't see the point. And so, can it be leveraged and automated somewhat? I don't think any business really is 100% automated or residual. Some models can go close, but you're always going to have a period of incubation time of 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, whatever it may be, to build up an asset, to build up people, to build up software and systems before it can be 80, 90% automated. And there are lots of things we do in our business to make it a lifestyle business. But because we're on so many properties all the time, we're busy in the period of the business that we're in. So I saw it as a lifestyle business. Yes, and have to work my ass off to get it to that point. Yeah. I saw it having all the potential to do those things. So yeah, it fit into that category. And then I just looked into the finer details of, legality and how simple it's going to be in the maths, and away we went. But it was basically the lifestyle. Our goal is to build up a portfolio and sell it. For other people, it's about building it up, automating at 80%, putting someone on to overlook that, and earning their 10, 20, whatever their goal is per month, and having a good lifestyle. But yeah, for us, it's a big payday. So these days, what people will mostly understand with that talk is people selling rent rolls. So since the dawn of time in real estate, people have bought and sold long-term rent rolls, which are quite valuable. Hundreds of properties, if not thousands of properties. We can do that in the short-term market as well. Yep. We need less properties because we take typically 20% instead of 7 or 8%. And so 100 properties in the short-term rent roll can be quite valuable. So that's our goal over the next few years, is to have that big payday and see what the next mission is.
Yep. Fantastic. So give me an example of the worst thing that happened in your Airbnb business. I'm thinking about
probably COVID.
Yeah, I know. Everyone's answer.
But I'll tell you what, that was like the worst / the best as well, because our business has evolved and just gotten stronger. But it's a great business model. I mean, you always got good guests and bad guests. And again, if you screen your guests properly, you have your house rules, if you look for reviews and ID, and you do everything properly and professionally, which is what we teach, you will get rid of 99% of your problems with guests. You're always going to have a guest here and there that pushes the boundary, that lies to you, that says they're not going to have a party when they will. But all in all, we've had no major incident in 4 years. We've had beer bottles and that left around. We've had a hole or two in the wall, but nothing major. One story for you recently was we had reports of a party at one of our places in Coolum. And the guest was saying, nothing's going on here. And the neighbours were saying there's 40 people there. And we're kind of like, didn't know which one to believe. So we actually decided to jump in a car because it's only 15 minutes from our house and just do a drive-by. So anyway, the boys were still up. It's about 7, 8 o'clock at night. 2 boys are in the back. Youngest one fell asleep. The oldest one looks out the window as a naked boy ran past the house down the road. So he was straight onto it. I just saw someone naked. It's like, oh no. They were definitely having a party, and it was in full flight. So that was. I mean, you could write a book on the Airbnb stuff, but again, it was a pretty innocent party. The next day, the house was spotless, but they broke house rules. That's going to happen. There wasn't 40 people there. There was probably 14. But at the end of the day, she said there wasn't. There was. So we left her a bad review. Don't trust whatever her name was because she'll have parties. But she was actually a really nice girl, and it was actually the guys that were with her that she just couldn't control. And I don't really have a massively bad story. That's one of the recent, more amusing ones.
Yeah. So what's your advice for investors who are considering Airbnb as an investment strategy, and why would it be useful for them? Why would they want to think about it?
Yeah, I think that's how I invest now. When I buy properties, it's all I think about. But I think that you got to come back to what your personal situation is. So if you're a surgeon and you're making $3 million a year and you're looking to invest in a property and it's positively cash flow, you're just paying more tax, right? Which I'm a fan of because it just means I'm making money.
You're paying tax, making money, right?
Yeah, and you want to reduce your tax as much as possible, right? We all do, in a legal sense. What I don't understand, I'm not a big fan of the negatively gearing, taking money out of your pocket and praying that the property goes up, and it may or may not. But of course, if you're making $3 million a year, getting taxed 50% in the dollar because you're an employee, and you're buying property in Brisbane right now, I think the chances of that going up are pretty great. And if that can be negatively geared and you're saving yourself tax, then I get that. So I think every individual situation is different. For us, I just love cash. I love cash flow, so that's why I love the Airbnb business. We manage properties that we don't own. We lease properties that we don't own. No mortgage, no stress, no big overheads, and it's just cash flow. But in terms of buying properties, we will look for a property, minimum 4 bedrooms, in a place that the council are like, yep, you're good to go. So I don't want to have restrictions or hurdles or barriers with that. With a property that's going to be quality. So everything that we look at that a short-term renter would want, location, the property itself, all the legalities, all the strata, all those sorts of things are favourable, then it just becomes about the numbers for me. So some properties you'll get a 10% better return having it on short-term rental market than having a long-term renter in there. Some properties you'll make more having a long-term renter in there. So it really just depends on the property and the location. But then we have a client, an owner in Noosaville up here, where we doubled her return. So she was making $2,000 a month with a long-term tenant. We're making her $4,000 a month now on the short-term market. 1-bedroom unit in a resort. So it just really depends. But so I look for places where can I make a 10% better return, 20, 30, 40, 50% better return. And if you've got a 4, 5, 6 bedroom, really nice house that you can make, $1,000 a night, $2,000 a night on in somewhere like just out of Brisbane, which I believe is ready to explode. That's how I invest. If you know how to host it professionally, because here are the things that most owners are worried about. My house is going to get trashed and I'm not going to get bookings. When you know what we know where to go, and we've got software, we've got profit. We know, apart from something crazy happening like COVID, shut down every single border, no one's outside their house, So apart from that, we know where we're going to get more profits from. And, the way we're set up as a company and structure and all that, that's individual, but it works for us. So that's how I like to invest. It's not for everybody. But if people are after positive cash flow, I think that's the way to go these days, rather than looking in Ballarat or Bendigo or Geelong, where perhaps you still can get positively geared properties. They're a little bit cheaper, but still good rents. You can look at positively geared cash flow in just about most locations if you know what you're doing.
That's right. And it's about the strategy is about engineering the positive cash flow, isn't it? And Airbnb is another technique and strategy you can use to engineer your positive cash flow property. So not only can you get, capital growth, but then you can also get your positive cash flow from the go. And, you talked about some really powerful points about locations critical, but just having all those things lined up. Well, you can filter suburbs with those kind of indicators in place, can't you? Rightio, we know what the council's favourable towards it. We know it already works because other people are doing it in that area. We know the kind of houses that really sing and do well because you can just go onto the software to work that out. Or talk to someone like you and I, and we can help you work that out. But, I often get questions, hey, where would you go and invest right now? And I'm pulling this, you weren't prepared for this question at all, but but you've made reference to just outside of Brisbane. Like, where are you sort of into as an investor yourself? Because I'm looking as well all the time, where do we buy our next property?
Yeah, I mean, I think you've got to be careful of CBDs right now for obvious reasons. It take a while to bounce back. But yeah, look, I still think, like all the infrastructure that they've put into Brisbane just in the last couple of years is monumental. It's billions of dollars. It looks very strong and most likely that the Olympics is going to be there in 2032. All the infrastructure of hospitals and airports and everything they're doing with the Maroochydore CBD. I mean, that triangle of Brisbane, Gold Coast, Sunshine Coast, I just love right now. COVID's accelerated all that. So I think it's pretty hard to go wrong with interest rates where they are buying property, in that golden triangle in Queensland. Perth properties really bottomed out, right? So they've got to come back, and they are at the moment. That's a lot of people talking about. That's not the worst place in the world to go to invest in property in Perth. I think we've got a good run most where Sydney and Melbourne, I think, if you're looking 20, 30, 40, 50 years ahead, are probably always strong markets. I mean, I love looking at Sydney from above. There's a big stream of water out there, and then it all pushes inland, and there's always demand. And so that just pushes property prices up all the time. Melbourne was on track to beat the Sydney population or New South Wales population within the next 5 years. That probably won't happen now. So I'm not so much Sydney and Melbourne. I think Brisbane's really going to catch up in their growth. I think Perth is good, and there's a lot of rural areas that are perhaps worth looking at as well. But yeah, for me, it's that little golden triangle in Brizzy, Gold Coast, more so Brisbane, Sunshine Coast at the moment.
Yep, good to know. Thanks for the tips. Do you have a favourite Airbnb deal that you've done, or that you're working with, an owner with, or that you just go, that's perfection. That's one of your favourites.
I loved, our first month when we made $4,000 for this 1-bedroom lady in Noosaville, because she was just, straight away it's like trust, like, wow, I should have done this years ago. And in fact, she did actually try, but just didn't have the right host, didn't know what they were doing, advertised it on one platform, and so that was cool. One we just brought on in Torquay. I mean, down that coastal area between, Lorne and Geelong sort of area, that's pumping. So we just brought on, the only way I could describe this house would be a mansion in Torquay, indoor heated pool, like 6-7 bedrooms, the ground, it's just beautiful. So, that's a $1,500 a night type of property. So that's gorgeous. So there's a couple of the little favourite ones. Sometimes it's not all about the house and the money, it's about an owner's experience, or and sometimes it's just a set and forget property that, you get a property sometimes where someone just books it for 3 months in a row at $800 a night. It's pretty cool. So sometimes that happens as well, which is fun.
Yep, absolutely. What apps and tools do you find useful, would you recommend using if you're running your own Airbnb?
I don't give a farm on all the secrets, but I think, when you're running a cleaning business, the cleaners are the Achilles heel for every host that I talk to. The quality of cleans, getting consistent cleaners. So that's a process within itself, but we love using the Properly app with our cleaners, where the booking comes in, the cleaners will get notified when they're booking in and when they're checking out. So they know when that clean's going to be, 10 a.m., that checkout time. They'll get push notifications, text messages to remind them to do that. So, we use that in conjunction with some software called Guesty, and Guesty pretty much runs our whole business. And so we never speak to our cleaners unless they do something wrong. We don't remind them. We don't spreadsheet. We don't email. We don't remind them. It's all done through that software process. So yeah, there's a lot of different apps from cleaners to automation to guest messaging to telling you where the nightly rates are and occupancy. Historically for 3 years, dynamic pricing software, which can automatically set your pricing based on supply and demand. So there's a lot of these tools which are in our course that we use to, it just saves you hours and hours and hours a month of manual. Some stuff you just got to do yourself, but yeah, you want to make life easy, and most of it's pretty cost effective too.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, I got some questions from the Facebook group. Did the recent Queensland election affect the short-term rental business in any way?
Well, the person I voted for didn't get in. Queensland's always going to be strong with tourism, right? I mean, I think for me personally, our current premier is a bit trigger happy on closing borders, and they're doing things differently now. So beforehand, it was like, there was one case in Ballarat, so let's close the borders to Victoria. Now they're having a little bit more common sense where they'll say, look, we won't close the borders, but if you're in this cafe and this hairdresser and this gym, you're going to need to get a test and get negative, and then we'll let you in. So, they're getting less and less trigger happy on let's just close the borders, unless you're Mark McGowan in WA. So, look, I think, whether Anastasia got in or whether someone else got in, it's a popular decision to do that. That's the problem. It's getting premiers back in because they're closing borders, because the majority of the population feel like they're keeping them safe. There's a much bigger conversation than that. There's a much bigger picture to that. Does it hurt tourism? Of course it does. We're lucky in Queensland. We're a big state, so we've got Cairns, we've got Port Douglas, we've got Gold Coast, Brisbane. It's a big state, and even when we saw borders closed, our Airbnbs were still busy just with locals staying. When our international borders were closed, we were as strong as ever, because Australians aren't going to Thailand and Byerlee in Europe. They're coming to Queensland or Perth or wherever. So the domestic travel has been strong. I just think there needs to be a bit more common sense around it. I mean, you can't just shut borders with one case left, right and centre and then beg the federal government to give you payouts to the tourism industry when you're the one shutting the borders. So, whether it was that election or another election, we don't get caught up in it. We just build our business. There's things that you can control, and that's what you need to be in control of. There's things outside of your control that, people stress about or they'll make decisions about, or they'll blame. There's no point, because you can't control that. All you can control is your environment. So you need to take the positives out of it. The short-term rental market's going to work no matter who's in. You just sometimes got to tweak, and sometimes you got to pivot based on, what they. And look, some people in some areas are more favourable, whether it's Liberal or Labor, whether it's one premier or another premier. We can even look in the micro bubble up here in Noosa. If you have a certain mayor that's against it, so he wants to shut down short-term accommodation in Noosa Shire, but then the next mayor might be favourable because they understand that it boosts the economy. But all we've done in the Noosa Shire is we just go to the Sunshine Coast City Council for properties because it's easier. So you just got to be aware, be educated, pivot, and there's always positives. There's always areas and ways around it. Control what you can control. Don't stress about what you can't.
Yeah. Very wise advice. So, one of the other questions, and you kind of touched on it a bit, is, do you think travel restrictions, or what's your opinion on travel restrictions domestically in the next 9 months? I mean, of course, you don't have a crystal ball, but do you have some sense that they'll continue? Do you have any sense of, I guess, what's your opinion really on what you think might happen?
Yeah, that's an opinion. Like you say, we don't know. But I believe there will be. I believe we'll see more shutdowns. I would not be surprised if we see another border or two closed. Who knows who between. It just kind of feels like it'll pop up somewhere, somehow. I mean, I don't know if I'm crazy, but the only way we're getting community transmissions at the moment is someone goes into quarantine and comes back into the community. So wouldn't it just make sense that we treat it like a like a fly-in, fly-out. So, okay, let's pay them some really good money, security, bus drivers, nurses, and put them into this hotel or wherever the hell you want to put it, pay them good money. They stay there for a whole week. They do a test. They test negative. They come back. Am I crazy? Is this just common sense? Like, why are we continuing to having a security guard that goes to a hotel with positive cases and then comes back home, then goes shopping? I mean, it doesn't make sense. But, yeah, look, I personally think there's still a few shutdowns to come. Borders, like I said, they're getting a bit better with the common sense around that. I think it's getting harder and harder to see any businesses survive if they're going to continue to do it, particularly tourism. And so if we even look at what Airbnb did originally, they just went bang, refund every single booking, no questions asked to host. And originally, well, I mean, we lost $250,000 worth of bookings between March and September 2020. And so straight away, we were like, what is going on here? Yeah. But then, and look, it was a hard road back from there, but it was one of the best things that happened in our business. But Airbnb aren't going to do that again. And we've seen that. There's been lockdown here, lockdown there, border there. So Airbnb can't afford to keep doing that either. So now it's up to my cancellation policy. And the way we tend to do it, if it's not their fault, then it's business as usual. If it's not their fault, we will refund them. So if they're coming from Melbourne or Queensland, but the border's closed, there's nothing, we'll refund them. Yeah. But if it's just like, we heard there was a case in Cairns, we don't want to come to Noosa, we're like, well, the borders are open, you're crazy, our refund policy stays the same. So we can manage the business, we can manage it, we're very positive about it. And I think there'll be a few to come, but I don't think it's detrimental to the business. And look, long term, we can talk about opinions on vaccines and all that another time and conspiracy theories, but the way that the world generally works is on confidence. So whatever the media tells 80% of the population, they'll do. And if they feel confident that majority of the population is vaccinated, if they get told we can open borders now, then they'll feel confident and they'll travel. And at the end of the day, if populations are traveling, our business will flourish. And so, that's probably going to be more into 2022. I think the business will continue to get stronger with internationals. But look, to be quite honest, I don't really care from a business point of view. I mean, I want to get out and travel and open up our borders. But from a business point of view, it's just as strong with international closed as open. And I wasn't sure that was going to be the case. But when Aussies can't get out, they travel, and it's been just as strong as ever. And I kind of enjoy it in some aspects. I think the business is back to where it was, and we'll just get stronger and stronger with a few little road bumps in between.
So the other question is, what's your best advice or recommendation you would give to someone starting out and expanding their short-term rental business?
It's interesting because in one aspect, I want to say, make your listings dynamic. And when I say that, I mean, don't focus in on one area, because if Melbourne CBD gets shut down, you're okay because you got Brisbane or you got, and look, here's what we teach in our courses. You can run this business sitting at home in Ballarat, and you can have businesses in Cairns. You can have properties in Port Douglas. You can have properties in Perth. We can show you how to do all of that. And so, but on the other hand, it's not so easy to go, right, I'm going to be in 10 locations on day one. You do want to focus locally. So I'm sort of giving it a catch-22 there. But look, I think in the beginning, get focused on what your model is. So are you leasing or are you managing? Are you going to do a combination of that? How are you going to generate leads? So if you're leasing, that's fine because all the properties are sitting right there on realestate.com for you. Go and get good at your pitch. Get some good marketing materials. I recommend everyone gets a really good branding website, because if you're going to run the management model, it's going to be great for generating leads. And that's where 90% of our leads come from today. If you're going to do the leasing model, it's not so important, but it's still good to be able to hand over a business card, a brochure, a pamphlet. Your website's on there. They look it up. It looks professional. I think one important things in the early days to do is have a strong brand, have a strong presence. Even when you've got 0 properties, work out what your business model is, work out where your location is going to be, and then go for it. And you can expand as you go,
Yep, absolutely.
If you've got great cash flow, the leasing's great. If you've got very limited cash flow, then I would recommend in your beginning of your business, start by finding owners that want to put their property on Airbnb. They're going to pay for everything. They're going to pay for the fit out, the furniture, the mortgage, the electricity, everything. And you're going to do an 80-20 split with them, say, for example. So there's no overhead to starting your business except maybe a website and some business cards. And if you get a really beautiful property on day one that's $1,500 a night type of property, like our property at Torquay, you can make $2 or $3, $4 grand a month, taking the 20% commissions on that. It's a very low risk, low overhead way to start your business. And so when I'm coaching people, the way I coach them is by asking them questions. I don't just say, okay, you're going to do this, 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 and this. It's like, okay, do you want to make $1 million a year, or are you after $2 grand a month? Have you got cash flow to start or not? What do you like to do? So I ask them all the questions about how they see the business. And then I'll say, okay, based on your answers, this is what I recommend. Or they might just say, I don't care about anything. I just want to make money. You tell me what to do. And then I'll just duplicate what we did. So it's different for everybody.
The only thing I'd say to that is that I learned so much from doing the leasing model. So I had confidence, and I could go and say to a property manager, yeah, I know what I'm talking about. And, and it was, timing allowed that I could do those leasing models when we were making some money, pre-COVID in Melbourne here. But, having that experience certainly adds confidence for owners. But, yeah, you're right. You can make some. If you haven't got the outlay, you can certainly go and try and find some property managers and properties to manage for owners for sure.
Yeah, and again, it's just getting in the trenches. So you can generate leads through Facebook ads, Google ads, but and whilst you can put a budget on that, it's going to cost you money. But if someone's really got some get up and go in them, and they're just determined to make a business for themselves, then you go and make some flyers and just drop them. You drop them yourself, letterbox drops. You go to networking events for free and you pitch your business. There's lots of ways you can generate leads. You go and speak to a real estate agent that are selling properties, and they sell to an owner in Victor Harbor, and the owner says, yep, we're going to live in Adelaide. We're just going to short-term rent it when we're not around. Oh, fantastic. Who's going to look after your short-term rent roll? Oh, do you guys do that? No, we just do long-term rents. Oh, okay, well, we'll just hit Google. I'm sure we'll find someone. But what if that real estate agent could say, you've got to speak to Meredith. Meredith, she's the best. I wouldn't go to anyone else. So you have an arrangement with that real estate agent. It's a win-win. They're not doing any extra work. That's a great lead generator for you. So if people are serious about it, they can really get in and make some good money with this. And you don't need the millions of dollars like Home Time's marketing budget to go and make a full-time income.
Yep, absolutely. Last question. Well, last question and then I'll give you my 5 quick questions. But looking back over the last 12 months, if there was one thing you would do differently, what would it be?
Oh, like there's probably like a million of them, but in the essence of, could you have seen it coming beforehand? Like we're so smart in hindsight with everything that we do, and we're always learning. So like, would I have tweaked to the management model quicker, seeing COVID coming? Of course, but you just can't see that stuff coming. So I'll try and think of something. Okay, I'll tell you one thing. We expanded very, very quickly everywhere. I probably wouldn't do that again. So we were in Perth, and we were in Cairns and Port Douglas and Sunshine Coast and Brisbane and Gold Coast and Adelaide and Sydney, and we were everywhere. I would probably, had it again, I'd just probably do what we did post-COVID. So that's where I'd say it was actually refreshing. So now we don't deal with anything in New South Wales, and there's reasons for that. We don't deal with anything in WA. So we're just in Melbourne, the Great Ocean Road side of Melbourne, so sort of Lawn to Geelong, Sunshine Coast, Cairns, Port Douglas, Gold Coast, Brisbane, and Adelaide. And so I think we're in about 8 different locations instead of like 15. So that's one would be to hone in on a smaller grasp of an area and really, perfect that than sort of being everywhere and anywhere all the time. That's probably one thing I do a bit different. Not that I want to be in one spot. So I'd probably say to people, pick your 2, 3, or 4, and focus on them, and then expand. So that's probably one thing I would do different, which we did post-COVID. Yeah. We said, right, that's it. WA's gone. New South Wales is gone, and we're gonna hone in on these spots here where we had good staff and good people, where we knew the figures, where like in Sydney, right? You can go, I'm going to go to Sydney, and is there money in Sydney? Hell yeah.
Yes.
But if a cleaner lives in Neutral Bay and your place is in Parramatta, for people that have ever lived in Sydney, the traffic is horrendous. It's a huge city. You've got to have basically probably half a dozen hubs to manage that. So you treat Sydney like 6 different places.
Yeah.
So that it can be difficult to get cleaners from one end to the other. And yeah, they're looking at perhaps bringing in restrictions of 180 days in Greater Sydney. They may not. They've been talking about it for a while. So do you put all your futures on that? So there's a few reasons with that. Same with Perth CBD can be tricky.
So anyway,
yeah.
That have actually come in not the 180 days, but other regs, haven't they?
Yeah, which I've got no problems with the strata and the behaviour ones. I think that just helps our industry. But the 180 days I'm against, because I don't think owners should be told what they can do with their properties when and where. And also, it actually doesn't make commercial sense either in any aspect. If people really understood the industry and what it does, you wouldn't have that in there either. There are other ways to sift out and balance the long term versus short term. I don't think that's one.
Yep, for sure. All right. I have a couple of quick questions that I like to ask my guests at the end of an interview, just to get to know you a bit more. And are you ready for them?
I'm ready.
All right. What's the book you're currently reading?
Atomic Habits.
Well, yeah, me too. Actually, I've got 2 on the go, and that's one of them.
That's a good one. So I'm not too far into it, but it's great, and I've heard great things. And it's one of those ones where there's not much from a personal development mindset thing that's new, but it's different ways that different authors, or in a video or there's different ways that they put it that a light bulb can still go off, or reminders that you're not doing. So yeah, it's a great book. It's a good book.
I agree. I think I probably listened to the first 2 chapters. I'm doing it on Audible, and I think, it's like, I've heard this. Oh yeah, but look at that. Like, that's a nice way of putting it. 100%. Podcast you're finding most valuable? Do you get a chance to listen to any?
It's probably one thing I don't do enough, and I'm a big advocate of telling people to do it. So, while you're in the gym, switch off the music and stick on a podcast that's going to educate you. Because what I love about the theory of that is you're not spending any extra time growing. You're already doing a workout. While you're driving, stick on a podcast. You're already driving. It's when you're sort of going, okay, between 2 and 3 o'clock, I'll sit at my work desk and listen to a podcast. It's probably not the best use of your time. But I don't do it enough. What have I been listening? So in my I'm industry specific a bit more now. So instead of like Gary V, and I do like listening to him, it's like very industry specific. So it's like there's a lot of really good short-term rental podcasts from America that just have some really valuable information, like direct bookings and everything, and creating a brand that they're doing. So I'm more honing into specific stuff in the short-term market, or more specific stuff on marketing or funnels or whatever it may be along those lines. Yeah.
Yep. Fantastic. Your best high performance mindset hack for you?
No excuse policy.
It
pretty much sums everything up. If you do that, like if you're looking at anything at any day, like, oh, this is not working, I'm feeling flat, or I won't do it because of this, or I'm blaming that. If you just come back to a no excuse policy, and look, that's as long as everything else is equal. So it's just, I still believe in what I'm doing. I'm still passionate about what I'm doing. What I'm doing is still a good business model, and blah, blah, blah. Then if you just have a no excuse policy, you'll just get on with it. So I teach my boys that, no excuses. One of the big lessons I'm teaching my boys right now is responsibility. So as you would know, like, kids love to blame, right? So they're dibby-dobby, this kid did this. And so my 2 ones this morning, they both fell over trying to get in the car, smacked their head on the cement, and one wanted to blame me, the other one wanted to blame me. I said, boy, but we talk about responsibility. And the way I word it to them is becoming a superhero, because they're writing the superheroes. And so they love it. I say, look, if you blame Bo for everything bad that happens to you, then all of it is outside of your control. So you have no power to fix that. And they're like, oh, yeah. But if you take responsibility that you were both fighting, that you both fell over, now you have the responsibility to fix that. And that's like having superpowers, because you get to be in control. And as adults, we blame the government, we blame the premier, we blame the shutdowns, we blame the rain, we blame whatever. And if we just took responsibility, and I'm talking about taking responsibility for everything. And people say, oh, what about if someone T-bones you because they went through a stop sign? How do you take responsibility for that? Okay, sure, there's things that happen to us outside of our control, but we still have control on how we react to that situation. So it's always taking, and a lot of bad things happen to us that we think are outside of our control, but they're actually not. We attract them. We talk ourselves into it. There's a lot of things that we just need to take responsibility, because then you have the power to fix it. Mm-hmm. If it's a government's fault, unless you become prime minister, and probably even then you can't fix it.
Yeah, lose even more power.
I mean, it's just a puppet, right? But if it's up to us, then we have the power to control our lives. So yeah, I love the responsibility one. But yeah, just have a no excuse policy and you're pretty much ready to go.
Yep, love it. Brilliant. Fantastic reminder right now. All righty. If you could be in lockdown with a celebrity, who would it be?
Oh, see, I don't really do that celebrity thing. It's like every time I see an actor I like, I'm like, what's his name and what's her name? My wife's good at this stuff. Celebrity, I tell you what, just to be a little controversial, I'm going to say Donald Trump, because I'd be like, righto, mate, tell us everything you know. JFK, tell us, like, was this the case? Or what? You could just go, we're in lockdown, mate, spill the beans. Yeah. Love him or hate him. And the one thing I do, let's say we're not going to say we love or hate or which side of the fence we're on. There's no question. And I did this when I talk about no excuses, right? I remember getting like a negative review about something on social media. And it was like the end of the world was caving in, like I'm going to go hide under a rock. And this is many, many years ago. And then I just said to myself one day, you got to be kidding me. Like, if you're going to go big, have a look at how many negative comments Donald Trump gets on social media. It's probably 80%, right? And if he gave a single crap about what someone else thought, and it's one thing to say don't care what people think within your peer group or community, but when you're famous or you're a big entrepreneur, it's not just your group, it's the whole world. And they're going to have an opinion of you, which a lot of the time is not accurate. They don't actually know you personally. There's rumors, all sorts of stuff. You've just got to go, I don't care. I'm controlling what I can control. I believe in what I believe. I've got a good enough following of people that get what I'm saying. So I just gave myself an uppercut and said one bad review. And so the lesson I took from him was, just toughen up and go big, think big, put yourself out there publicly. Yeah, you're gonna, like, even just running Facebook ads, like you're gonna get trolled. But if you're gonna go big, you got to be prepared for that. So yeah, lockdown with him, you can still learn some stuff.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I think it doesn't matter whether you love or hate someone, there's always some learning to have.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
People's perspectives and things that are always intriguing, to understand and why, Yep. Last question. Next holiday destination when you are allowed to next travel.
Oh, okay. So let's take that outside of Australia. I'm going to say I want to get back to Italy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I want to take my wife to Capri. She's never been to Capri. It's a beautiful island. And, I do miss those sorts of travels. I even miss traveling I'm just not as motivated to travel now with the boys being their age. And whilst we may be able to travel, do we need a vaccine to travel? Do we have to wear a mask for 13 hours? There's a lot of part about travel that I'm still not putting my hand up for.
Yes.
But all being equal, Capri in Italy, here we come.
Yes, 100%. I haven't been to Capri. I went to Santorini though 3 years ago. Oh yeah, and Capri we were tossing up which island to go to. There's so many beautiful ones. It's awesome.
Oh, it's all good. We just Italy. Tuscany is beautiful. Yeah. Rome is different, but it's interesting. The whole coast. But But yeah, Capri has something magical about it. It is very romantic. It's very upper class, but it's got your beautiful beaches, and Capri is awesome. Yeah, it's magical. It's one of the Capri's like leave the kids at home type of place, whereas Tuscany, take the kids is not so bad.
Yeah, go and run around with the goats and the olive trees and stuff. That's right. Yeah. Well, is there anything else that you want to leave the group with before we depart? Where's the best way to find you?
Look, I'd just say, look, if people are looking at a new age business, a lifestyle business, have your, perspective of how it's going to go, have patience with it. I find, especially with the young ones, like, where's my $1 million on my first property? Why haven't I got 100 properties in my first 6 months? So it'll take a while to build up. It's definitely worth it. It works. It's a great business model. Yell out if we can help you in any way. Go through Meredith's Facebook group. She's a world of knowledge, and she can put you in touch with us as well. You can watch our video series on bnbproblueprint.com. But I would just recommend going through Meredith on her Facebook page, and depending on what you're after, she can point you in the right direction. And look, if it's not an Airbnb business, if it's not short-term accommodation business model, I'm a massive advocate of entrepreneurship. So I just don't understand. And look, everyone's different. And so if you love your job, you love your job. If you think what you're making right now is the perfect amount of money and what you're worth, make it, God bless you, well done. But I would say over 90% of the population has a problem with something. So they don't enjoy the peak hour traffic. They don't enjoy working for their boss. They don't enjoy working Monday and Tuesday and half a Wednesday to pay the tax man, and then you work half of Wednesday, Thursday, Friday for yourself. That makes no sense to me whatsoever, because you're an employee and you're paying in that tax bracket. Work for yourself, set up a company, pay 30 cents in the dollar, 25 cents in the dollar, and while you're making millions of dollars in a business that you're passionate about, work your own hours. I would recommend a work from home business because there's no traffic. You're wearing your pajamas all day. I mean, I'm not wearing my pajamas, but I'm in sport shorts and a t-shirt. So I'm a believer in entrepreneurship, but in the new age way of online, work from home. There's such a low risk area. And so you feel that's the area that you want to go in, develop your mindset, because whilst it's sexy, and it is, you're going to still come up with so many hurdles and barriers of, you've got to create a website, and then how do I get traffic to that? And how do I convert that traffic? And there's still so much to it that if you haven't got the right mindset, you're going to give up. If you're not hanging around the right people, they're going to bring you back down. You're going to give up. And so get around a community like Meredith, get around other entrepreneurs, get around positive people with good mindsets, read books like Atomic Habits, and develop your mindset with audios and books, and get into a new age business. And then you'll have freedom, because that's all anyone wants if they're honest with themselves. I don't think anyone really cares about the Ferrari, millions of dollars in the bank, the ego. That might be some people, but it's not many. For majority of people, they just want to choose when they get out of bed, choose when they travel, choose when they work. They want the freedom and choices to be with their family and do what they want to do. And I believe one of the best ways to do that is be in business for yourself. Pick a business that you can build up to be somewhat automated or residual, to give yourself the freedom, the time, and the choices. So that starts now. You can do that in the next 3, 4, 5 years. You're not that much older. You can do it. You can do it. Find a good mentor, find a good system, and just go for it.
Yeah, beautiful. Very wise words. Thank you so much for your time. And we'll end our live there, and just hang on for a sec, Aaron. Cheers. Yeah. See you later, everybody.
See you guys. Thanks for having me.
If you loved what Aaron was saying to you, give us a thumbs up, give us a smiley, give us a comment in the comments. I would love you to share this with other people as well, invite them to the group, and build this community that Aaron's referring to. And I'll also stick a link to Aaron's group and his course for people who want to have a look at it. And the other thing is Aaron is the Deck Chair Millionaire. So if you find him on LinkedIn and all those social places, he's certainly out and about there and sharing his wisdom about all that he's spoken about today. All right. Ciao.
Thank you.